What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Yahar'gul FM. I am Marcus. Last time we encountered a crazy little girl who claimed to be Gascoigne's daughter's sister, Gascoigne's other daughter, and yeah, that was pretty messed up. We'll talk about that as we move forward, but let's see what's going on with our NPCs here in Cathedral Ward, because this moon is very, very clearly messing with some folks. What's up, bro?
Oh, the hunter. Alive and well at that. Another one you sent made it here safe and sound. This place is a haven now for so many. Thanks to you. I'm overjoyed, really. That you'd even give me the time of day. I don't suppose there's anybody out there worth saving anymore. But you did all you could. And so many owe you so much. Amazing, really. Not because you're a hunter, but because you're you. Oh, makes me think. Once dawn breaks, maybe I can just, start over. Makes it easier to bear all of this, you see. You've made life easier. Thank you. If you please, kind hunter, when the night of the hunt passes, suppose we could be friends? Maybe? Now, I know I hardly deserve it, but, well, I had to just ask, you know. Out of line. Yes, perhaps so. But, well, give it a thought. If you wouldn't mind, of course. Once the night of the... Give it a thought.
We can be bros, bro. Sanctuary bro, me and you, we can be friends. But what's this about once the night of the hunt passes, starting all over? Man, there's some stuff going down.
Oh, there you are. Forgive me, I'm a bit out of sorts. So, no blood today, I'm afraid. Oh, there's something wrong with me.
Ariana is not well. She is really not well. This moon is messing with people in a very large way. What up, Grandma? Come on. What you got for us?
Ah, welcome home, dear. You've been very, very patient. Here you are. This will help you forget. Forget your troubles. Forget your cares. Ah, welcome home, dear. What's wrong? Anything you'd like to tell me? Oh my, you poor thing. Oh, now, have some patience. Mother will make everything better.
Well, she's been crazy for a long time, so... Adela is gone, man. I wonder what Sanctuary Bro's putting in this incense. Man, she's... I know that laugh. So she's no good to us. You, what's up?
Ah, your lies spin a web, but I see through your deceit. I did not learn from books. No. I learned it all with my own mind. Ah, but I learned...
That's kind of... I wonder if that's social commentary right there, because talking to that guy is like talking to the internet sometimes. Oh, hello. This thing has actually been there the whole entire game, but we couldn't see it before the blood moon was out, the pale blood moon was out. But if you get your insight up high enough, you actually can see it early. But it has been there the whole game. And since I have high insight now, you see these guys have eyeballs on their lanterns as if they've been collecting eyeballs as well. And they can use magic with it as well, so really interesting stuff. But last time, a lot of people are going to say that maybe that wasn't the little girl's sister because the little girl never mentioned that she had a sister. I personally tend to believe that it was her sister, and her sister had some jealousy over the ribbon. She wanted the ribbon. And no matter what you do, that little girl is in some serious trouble. Like, even if you don't tell her to go somewhere, it seems like her sister has her go somewhere so that she'll get killed so that she can get the rhythm because she's jealous. But don't think too badly of the sister, because this moon is fucking with people. Listen to me, it's fucking with people. Seriously, fucking with people.
Oh. Is that you again? I'm afraid I've made a bit of a blunder. I'm just going to have a short rest. Though, don't worry. I've taken blood. Enough to save an old woman. No more dreams for me. This is my last chance. What a fool I am. I'll have to tread carefully. But that thing still lies in wait. Turn back. This is my score to settle. My prey lies in wait this way. Turn back. This is my score to settle.
So Eileen hints at her age, but even more importantly, it's more confirmation that the mechanic, the explanation of the mechanic of reviving when we die is the dream. No more dreams for her, so this is her last chance. This boss, or not boss, this NPC fight is probably the hardest fight in the game, honestly. It's probably harder than any of the bosses. You see a couple of bullet shots from that repeating pistol. And got a Chikage, got a ton of health. This motherfucker has a ton of health. Can heal, can parry you and one-shot you. This is a very strong opponent that does not necessarily follow the same rules we do. You'll notice when the enemy transforms Chikage, it does take damage, and it's very possible, and in fact likely, that you will glitch the fight out on these stairs, and then the idiot will just stand there and die with the Chikage in transform mode. Like, that's pretty common. I did not want to win the fight that way, and you will see me actually accidentally glitch it here in a minute. Now, I think it is an intended method of fighting this enemy to let them transform the Chikage and then back off and like make them chase you and lose their health. That's kind of anybody that's going to transform the Chikage, you know, buy yourself some time, let them lose some health. But it does actually get stuck on the stairs here like this. But I'm not having it. I don't really want to win that way, so I just hit it and restarted the fight. But it's a very difficult battle, and you see I've almost got it dead. But almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So I decided to go back, and we're going to use some insight. We're going to buy some twin bloodstone shards. I'm going to upgrade. People have been wanting to see the threaded cane, so I thought, you know what, I'll try a different weapon against this enemy anyway. So we're going to do that. Upgrade a threaded cane, use that in the battle. On the lore for this enemy, there's a couple of things. It's wearing a Cainhurst helmet, but it's wearing a Hunter of Hunters crow garb. So it's a little bit unclear as to what specifically this is supposed to be. perhaps a Hunter of Hunters that has joined the Vile Bloods instead. I mean, we've actually seen this in Dark Souls 1. You know, we had infamous Dark Wraith who became a member of the Chaos Servants in Kirk. So they do those sorts of things in the games. So maybe that's hinting that that's what this thing, as Eileen refers to it, is. But yeah, we're seeing the effects of this Blood Moon on people, and here I'm going to swap my runes out. I think I ended up going with the Claw Mark rune instead of the Moon rune. The Moon rune. Because Claw Mark gives you more visceral attack damage, and frankly, against this particular enemy, parrying and doing a visceral attack is pretty much the most reliable means of damage. And we're gonna get that threaded cane. And we're gonna bump that threaded cane up. But yeah, the moon is messing with people so bad, it's blurred the line between men and beasts, but there's also something else going on. There's basically two stories going on in Bloodborne. There's a gothic horror story, and there's also a cosmic horror story. So it's a little bit gothic horror, a whole lot Lovecraft, and it just kind of goes back and forth between the two. Here I wanted to show you guys how cool it looks when you have bolt paper on the threaded cane. Oh man, it looks so sweet. And I'm just gonna back off and let this fool damage itself. The enemy is using the old hunter bone, which is what creates this kind of teleport effect on the roll. I'll talk more specifics about the bone's effects later, but it is actually fairly useful. It's another one of those that I think it requires 15 arcane if I remember correctly, so it's kind of for hybrid builds, I would say. But this jerk can and will heal multiple times in a battle. I had Numbing Mist. I only had 2. Poison Knives, I was really kind of wanting to chuck some Poison Knives at it, because to me that's just a clever strategy more than a glitch. I mean, you poison the enemy, that's what it's intended to do. But I didn't have any Poison Knives, and only 2 Numbing Mists. I was thinking, well, that ain't really gonna help a whole lot. You see me, I keep trying to go Whip Mode, because Whip Mode, you can actually outrange the Chikage, or at least the way this NPC is using it. You can outrange the Chikage, and so with the bolt paper on, I was getting pretty good damage, and then he healed. He or she, I can't actually remember if this is male or female, but so annoying. And this battle right here continued for several minutes. We're gonna skip ahead several minutes in the fight. I don't want to make you guys watch the whole thing. You see, I've used 10 vials at this point. It's minutes later, I get one shot. Well, not one shot, I'd already lost some health, but it would have been a one shot anyway. How do I know it would have been a one shot anyway? Well. So there you go. Lesson learned. Don't just run up and swing in whip mode when he's got that gun out, because shit. Shit. This is a pretty legitimately difficult battle. What would I say about it? It's really weird. It's gonna piss off a lot of people. I actually enjoyed it. I found it to be fairly fun, but it is a lot less satisfying due to the fact that the enemy doesn't follow the same rules that the player does. Like, can swing all day, can shoot all day, has thousands of HP, and can heal all of it quickly while simultaneously being able to one-shot the player with a parry. Like, it's one of those things where this has been ever since like the days of the regular Nintendo, where like you would be playing a game and bat type enemies could fly through walls that your character couldn't pass through. You see me using Numb and Mist, saying, alright, I'm going to try to keep you from healing. It's not going to work. But, I mean, the Numbing Mist does work, but it wears off, and it takes so long to kill this guy. Another thing I guess I should point out, though, I am using a +6 weapon. Then this is kind of, this is really an in-game side quest, so you could easily have a +9 or 10 when fighting this enemy, and it's not quite as ridiculous in that situation, but... so I guess the fact that this enemy doesn't necessarily follow the same rules that the player does is going to make it feel cheap to some people, and I expect, and I don't mind if you guys sound off in the comments. If you feel like this fight is cheap as fuck, go ahead and say this fight is cheap as fuck, because you ain't gonna get no arguments from me. But at the same time, I did enjoy doing it the legit way. Like, it was fun. And I guess what I'm trying to say is I think sometimes it's okay for games to cheat a little bit. I think there's a limit to how much they should cheat. When I say cheat, I'm saying have the enemy follow a different rule set than the player has to follow. I think it's okay for games to cheat a little bit, because sometimes that allows you to, like, they wanted this to be like fighting against another player, but there's no way that they can make this like fighting against another player. Although they do a pretty good job with some of these random dashes followed by gunshots. It got me a couple of times there, but since they can't do that, instead, you know, giving it a ton of HP, making it so that it can one-shot you, like, they did these things to make the fight challenging. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it. I enjoyed the fight, but I tend to prefer challenges where the enemy follows the same rules that I do. I love those double dashes that it does sometimes there. I swapped back to staff mode as soon as he brought that gun back out. Like, he had transformed Chicago out, and I was like, alright. This was so stupid, I was going to try to go in. He had transformed Chicago out, and I'm like, alright, well, you ain't got a gun, so I'm going to outrange you with the threaded cane, which is what I'm going to try to do here. Oh, by the way, I'm attacking into empty space. It may just look like I'm missing. It's kind of a similar principle to footsies in a fighting game. You attack where the enemy wants to be, rather than actually where they are. Like, you know they're going to try to come forward, and so you swing into that space hoping to catch them while they're attempting to come forward. That's why I'm doing that, in case you were wondering. It's not just me having poor range, although it kind of... Okay, some of it's me having poor range. Whew, god dang that repeating pistol. People keep talking about Evelyn. Nah, man, I like the repeating pistol. If you're gonna use a gun to deal damage, use the one that deals a ton of damage in a single shot. And it's not as extreme as the cannon in its bullet consumption. Evelyn is, like, per bullet, the most effective, but I don't find the 2 bullet consumption of the repeating pistol to be that much of a burden for the extra damage that it does. That's my opinion, obviously. People love the Evelyn, man. It's all good. There's lots of different ways to play. Suck it, dude. I guess I should say, since people keep asking, yes, I'm gonna do a lore series. This is why I'm doing this playthrough, is to gather footage for a lore series. Man, I just had to fucking take a breather for a second there after that. I was just like, oh, fuck, man, I earned this shit. Like, it was a really fun fight. It was really good. And as usual, I didn't want to make you guys watch the whole thing, but I didn't want to edit the deaths out completely, because that's part of the game. Dying is part of the game. It's absolutely, dying is part of the experience. The warmth of blood, darker hunter technique, resonates with servants of the queen, carrier of the child of blood, who yearn for the queen's blood with little hope of requitement. Blood rapture serves as a surrogate for their desires. We've read this before. I think we got the previous one from Shadows of Yhar'gul. And which Queen of Blood? They actually leave that ambiguous. There are 2 different queens that we could think of as actually being the Queen of Blood. But we'll have to talk more on that another time. Maybe at Canehurst.
Don't you ever listen to your elders? No matter. You did save my life. I don't seem to be apt for this life anymore. My glory days were long ago now. I know. Here. For you. This too is Hunter's work. But it bears no honor. A burden you may choose to carry. The decision is yours alone. Oh. My eyes grow heavy. Let me rest a while. I'll be fine. Just wait.
And so we have become Eileen's successor as the Hunter of Hunters. I guess I was just showing my stats there so you could see. +6, level 51, 25 skill, 31 bit. Is the way I just did that fight. We got the Hunter of Hunters Rune, stamina recovery speed up. This red smudge rune indicates Hunter, and has been adopted by those who have taken the Hunter of Hunters oath. These watchmen admonish those who have been addled with blood, be they men or beasts. Anyone who has threatened the pledges of the Hunter oath surely has an issue with blood. The Hunter symbol, that's the truest Hunter right there, is the Hunter of Hunters. But how different is that from a normal hunter, really? Because beasts were humans in the first place anyway. Those who have become addled with blood. The badge of the Hunter of Hunters is quietly passed down from generation to generation, usually to an outsider from the hinterlands. To be entrusted with this cursed badge, one must be strong, resilient to the seduction of blood, and gracious when taking a comrade's life. We fit this. We're an outsider, we're a foreigner, although we don't know that we're from the hinterlands. And hinterlands is something that's going to come up in our Chalice dungeon runs, which we are going to run the Chalice dungeons before finishing the game. We need to, from a lore perspective. So you'll notice that the doll is still laying there. I can actually level up. This is what she appears like after you've interacted with her, but you have 0 insight. And the main thing that I'm going to do here is I am going to purchase and upgrade the Blade of Mercy, which is probably going to be the weapon that I end up using. Splits into 2 when activated. The weapon's warped blades are forged with siderite, a rare mineral of the heavens. Most effective in swift attacks such as after quick-stepping. It's one of the oldest weapons of the workshop. This is pretty good weapon. It's really good, like it says, after quick steps and after rolls, it actually has really good attacks. The beak contains incense to mask scents of blood and beast. Dresses crows to suggest sky burial. The first Hunter of Hunters came from a foreign land and gave the dead a virtuous native funeral ritual rather than impose a blasphemous Yahar'gul burial service upon them, with the hope that the former compatriots might be returned to the skies and find rest in a hunter's dream. So the incense is a big lore point. Maybe this is how the Hunter of Hunters, despite hunting people who have these issues with blood and who have these problems where they're turning into beasts, like they're hunting kind of the worst beasts. Humans can become beasts. Well, we know clerics become fearsome beasts. Well, it should be assumed too that hunters also become very fearsome beasts. But yeah, using the mask that contains incense to mask the smell maybe prevents Eileen or other Hunter of Hunters from being addled by blood, so to speak. And you see here, I know people have been saying, why are you hoarding this stuff? I just use the stuff when I need it. Like, Blood Echo items and insight items, humanity items in Dark Souls. I just use it when I need it. And now at the point we are in the game, we can actually buy twin bloodstone shards with this. So I'm going to go ahead and use this just to get the shards that I need to upgrade my Blade of Mercy up to +6. And that means we now have the Threaded Cane, the Blade of Mercy, and the Rifle Spear all at +6. And we'll probably keep leveling up the Blade of Mercy. I cut out the part where I put the gems back in it and all that because it's just whatever. Here you see me, I ultimately leveled up my skill a little bit. The Blade of Mercy's got that A scaling, or I think it eventually becomes S. It's got really good scaling with skill is the main point, so raising our skill increases our damage. And now we're going to the Forbidden Woods because we're gonna go pay Fake Iosefka another visit. You see me here just playing around with my new toy. Like the Blade of Mercy. We're probably gonna do some fashion souls coming up pretty soon too. We're gonna have to change our look. I mean, the Rifle Spear to me, it kind of goes pretty good with the Henrik stuff, but Blade of Mercy needs something more like stealthy ninja-ish kind of. I don't know. I gotta come up with something else. But I'm just gonna take this kind of trap / shortcut and just jump off here. And the next episode will be Canehurst, so for people who are wanting to play ahead, I will probably be, almost certainly be heading to Canehurst next, so take your summons to Hemwick Crossing, don't delay. The Blade of Mercy, actually, there are several different ways you can use it. One really nasty way is when you have it in two-handed mode, its attacks are very, very fast, very, very rapid. So putting in dirty gems or murky gems to give it a poison effect, you can build up poison damage really, really fast. It's actually pretty useful. Honestly, it may be better for doing quick poison than Chikage. It might be. I don't know. What do you guys think? To me, honestly, at this point, one of my... It's not a criticism of Bloodborne, because it's not like an objective failing of the game. In fact, a lot of people will find it to be a virtue. But to me, the game overall is just too goddamn dark. There are hints throughout the game that this may, in fact, be all just a dream. And I think that some of what the beggar says about starting over after the night of the hunt passes, like despite the state that Yhar'gul is in right now, he still feels like can start over. I mean, that's not one of the most clear hints, but there are a number of hints throughout the game that this might all just be just a dream, and I don't know. It may be that, it may not be that. Here I'm showing that the Blade of Mercy does have some thrust attacks. That's not, but the backstep R2 actually is a thrust attack. Can see it very well on those enemies because they're resistant to normal physical attacks. It's another thing I'm really ready for the guide to go ahead and drop so that you guys can see all the damage types of all the attacks, because some of them will surprise you. And it kind of changes which gems that you want to use depending on what type of attacks you're using. Just playing around, killing these crows. That L2 backstep. Alright, now this confrontation has been building the whole game. Fake Iosefka. Notice that those blue guys don't disappear. That's another hint that those are NPCs and not just normal enemies. And into the room where she's been doing all of her experiments. Fake Iosefka likes it doggy style. Fake Iosefka confirmed best waifu. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But she is clearly having some issues. Her attire is pertinent to the story as well. First, let's hear what she has to say.
God, I'm nauseous. Have you felt this? It's progressing. I can see things. I knew it. I'm different. I'm no beast. Oh, God, it feels awful. But it proves that I'm chosen. Don't you see how they writhe inside my head? It's rather rapturous. God, I'm nauseous. It's progressing. I knew it. Oh, it's...
Best waifu, have some mercy. That writhe keyword in there, the Odin writhe. Here we have another one of these umbilical cords. Provost, this was the one we originally had. Yearns for a surrogate, precipitated the encounter with the pale moon, beckoned the hunters, and conceived the hunter's dream. This was the one that we previously had. Every infant great one has this precursor to the umbilical cord. This is the new one. Provost Willem sought the cord in order to elevate his being and thoughts to those of a great one by lining his brain with eyes. The only choice he knew if man were to ever master or match their greatness. Sorry, my preview is really small. I can't really read that. So every infant great one has these things. We know it precipitated the encounter with the pale moon, with the pale blood moon. It led to the encounter with the pale blood moon, which beckoned. And it's really, really interesting because we're using babies to beckon the moon, but the moon beckoned the hunters and conceived the hunter's dream. So, good God almighty. And this is more evidence, once again, that Willem may have actually literally been trying to have eyes on the inside of his head. And she said she can see things, that they writhe. It's like she was seeing the things inside of her own head. This borderline between evolution and insanity here. Her garb is that of the choir, if I remember right, and so we'll deal with that in a bit. But for now, have mercy.